Welcome to the GTN Show. We have got so much to talk about today.
Yes, what a big weekend it was with the much hyped sub-7, sub-8 taking place in Germany over the weekend.
Yeah, we got a lot of stuff in today's show about what went on there, as well as some Super League news and some swimming tech.
Plus, we've got a new women's world's best Ironman time, and that wasn't at the sub-8 in Germany.
Okay, kicking off with our React section, we talk about everything we've seen on social media this past week. And the first one, obviously, we had the sub-7, sub-8 project this weekend. And one thing that jumped out to me was obviously the tech and innovation that was going into this. And notably on Joe Skipper's team, I spotted that they had those elite chrono bottles in kind of like a dual fashion behind the saddle, as well as the riders themselves, or at least the cyclists, not Joe, they had bladders down their front for hydration. Interesting. Now, I'm not sure they were actually using those elite chrono bottles behind, and maybe they're there almost like a fairing.
They're very aero bottles, but they're very much not practical for behind your saddle. They're not an easy thing to clip into the bottle cage, and to find the bottle cage to clip it in, it's very impractical. And we do wonder whether they were just using them as a kind of an aero fairing.
But they can get away with it because they're a bottle.
It's actually a bottle. Yeah.
We'll get into more on the sub-7, sub-8.
There was also a water bottle sprayer that was used.
We'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah. Now we did notice a mishap, as did many of you, that happened during the run section actually, and I think we were all predicting.
Yeah, you didn't have to be Nostradamus to see this one coming. In fact, both Mark and myself, we were watching little bits here and there in between, looking after kids and whatever Mark was doing over the weekend, which wasn't looking after kids, and we both saw this guy handing water to Kristian Blummenfelt and Kristian Blummenfelt's Kenyan pacemaker. He must have been the Kenyan coach or another Kenyan support staff, and he was looking a bit wobbly on that bike of his. And both of us heard afterwards that he had actually taken a bit of a tumble whilst handing over that water. We didn't see him after that.
Yeah, fortunately we have heard he's fine, although should have been wearing a helmet.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad tumble though.
No, and as we all predicted, or at least everyone was hoping, as Joe passed Kristian Blummenfelt, he did the junkyard dog that we've all heard Joe going on about and doing over the past few months.
Apparently there was a bit more barking later on in the run from both of them. There was another pass the other direction.
Still along the same theme of the sub-7, sub-8, we have discussed the On Cloud Boom Echo, or the new prototype that is due to come in the near future. There are some close-up leak photos of it on Instagram, but notably Nicola Spirig was actually wearing it at the sub-8 this weekend.
So they're in the real world now.
Yeah.
How long before we get them, Mark?
I don't know, but they do look good.
Now it's time for the Tri News, and we have to talk about the biggest thing that happened this weekend in triathlon world, and that was the sub-7, sub-8. Now it had the potential to be a really enthralling spectacle, or to fizzle out into a bit of a non-event. It certainly didn't do that.
And actually, it caused a lot of debate on our videos. A lot of people chatting about it in advance of this event, so there's a lot of excitement, clearly. But firstly, a lot of credit needs to go to the production and the professional show that was put on, and that credit needs to go to the Mana Sport and Entertainment Group, the same people that brought us Super League and more latterly have also brought us the Arena Games. Now, whether you enjoyed the event, the whole format, I mean, you have got to take your hat off to the quality of content that was produced on the day. It really was very good.
It was really easy to watch. Even if you didn't know what was going on or the whole format just annoyed you, it was still very easy to watch. It was very well presented, and I found myself enthralled by it. Back to the racing though, and when you've only got 4 athletes to watch, it could very easily end up being a non-event. I mean, we did have athletes pulling out at the last minute. Alistair Brownlee had to pull out just 1 week before. Lucy Charles-Barkley pulled out way further in advance, and Kat Matthews was brought in. And then Joe Skipper was brought in the last minute for Alistair Brownlee. And even then, with only 4 athletes to talk about, any one of them could come down with COVID, wake up with a stomach bug or whatever, and not be on the finish line, or not even be on the start line. But that didn't happen. All 4 of the athletes actually showed up, put up amazing displays, and all 4 of the athletes hit their targets of breaking that sub-7 and sub-8. It was pretty astonishing to watch.
Yeah, it really was. So let's run through the results and splits. So first off, Kristian Blummenfelt, the fastest male on the day, 6 hours, 44 minutes and 25 seconds. A swim time of 48.21, a bike time 3:24.22, and a run time of 2:30.50.
Yeah, moving. Joe Skipper had a total time of 6 hours and 47 minutes and 36 seconds. A 53-minute 24 swim time, a 3 hour 16:42 on the bike.
And they all said that they couldn't do 3:20.
Yeah,
they showed them.
Joe put out there a 3:20 as a target, and everyone says that was a ridiculous target. Yeah. And yeah, he broke it by more than 3 minutes. And then he ran a 2:36.43 off that to finish just 3 minutes and 11 seconds behind Kristian Blummenfelt. So pretty close racing, even though they weren't really racing, they were racing the clock.
Yeah. And on the women's side, the fastest female on the day was obviously Kat Matthews. A time of 7 hours, 31 minutes and 54 seconds. A swim time of 54.43. A bike time, 3 hours, 50.06. And a run, 2:46.09.
Yep. And then just behind her, just 2 minutes and 25 seconds behind her, Nicola Spirig finished in 7 hours, 34 and 19 seconds. She came out the water just 7 seconds behind Kat in 54.50. She rode a 3:53.16 with her team and then ran faster than Kat Matthews, actually, at 2:45.07 to finish that 2 minutes and 25 behind her. Pretty impressive performances all around there. It was an incredible day of racing.
Yeah, and I think actually the way it panned out was really quite exciting. On the bike, we saw Joe passing Kristian, which was very exciting. Obviously, the junkyard dogged it, and then Kristian passing him on the run. But on the female side, obviously, we had the toing and throwing on the run with Nicola going past Kat, and then Kat managing to stay there and going past her again. So really cool. But what are we saying about this event, James?
Well, it was certainly a success. It broke down some barriers. It was good to watch, and I think we can definitely take away as a showcase for triathlon and putting triathlon on the world stage. It was a successful event. There's a but though. There was always going to be a but, wasn't there? It wasn't really about triathlon. What we really took away from this event was how incredible a team time trial is. I mean, we've seen team time trials before in the Tour de France, etc., and they are impressive. But they're always over like 60 Ks at the maximum. This was over 180 Ks and no one really knew what to expect. Like we said with their predictions, didn't know how fast they were going to go. And they blew everyone away with how fast they went. A team time trial working together like that can go really fast, even over 180 Ks. It was exceptional. Obviously the pro triathletes were sitting on the back of that, so they didn't have to work as hard as the guys in front of them. But they started to work pretty hard. Joe Skipper said he averaged about 280 watts compared to his normal Ironman power, which is around 320 watts, to get off and then run a full marathon. So it was still a hard day's work, but it wasn't really triathlon, was it?
Yeah, and then as for the run and the swims, they were solid, but not outstanding. I feel very bad saying that because they were still, obviously, in my opinion, outstanding. But in terms of their level, and the swim was very much the sort of time we would expect from Ironman swims, so nothing crazy there. And the runs, well, they were within around 5 minutes of their Ironman run PBs anyway. So yeah, I mean, sort of thing you would expect, I guess, when you're going on a tailor-made full-speed run course off a very fast bike that you've been hanging on the back of. Yeah,
you would expect those times for the swim and the run, which means the only real difference here from a normal Ironman distance race was the team time trial in the middle, which obviously was not really what we wanted to see, was how fast a team time trial can go. You don't need the swim and the run on that side. I would personally prefer to see it something along the lines of Jan Frodeno's Tri Battle, which he did last year, where a similar closed course, made for speed course, lap on the bike, laps on the run where it's nice and flat, tailored conditions, etc., and more seconding, and see how fast a human being can go over the Ironman distance without the drafting effect. And I think if we could do that in the future and bring in some more athletes and have that kind of race against the clock for time, it might be more enthralling and more interesting than this team time trial. Although I'm not taking anything away from it, it was still a very good spectacle.
Yeah, I do think, though, there should be a prize for the best prediction. I don't know if you realise.
Yeah, this might actually be the most impressive thing about the whole weekend for me.
Kat was 54 seconds off her prediction, and Joe was only 36 seconds off his prediction. Yeah. I mean, that might be the most amazing stat we've seen come out of the day.
Over 6 hours and 46 minutes of racing, Joe was only 36 seconds off his prediction. And he was basing this on something that's never happened before. It's not like they do this every weekend.
Yeah.
It's never happened before. And they managed to get within 36 seconds of their prediction. It was quite incredible. I'll give Joe credit for that.
And also, like, hats off, because this isn't just your own solo effort. You are basing this on, with all the other cyclists you've got in your group and how hard they're going to be pulling, etc.
Predict all of their abilities too,
And on that, I mean, everyone was obviously incredible. Joe, though, pulled in just 7 or 8 days before. Obviously, he picked up a lot of Alistair's sort of research and innovation, but he didn't have Alistair's bike, for instance, which we understood had a lot of tech that had gone into it, as well as the prototype wetsuits. Joe had to just race in his normal sponsor wetsuit, his normal bike, and do as good as he could.
Yeah, he didn't get special trips to the wind tunnel and all this kind of stuff that the other guys did. So credit to Joe. It was a very, very tough performance by him. In fact, credit to everyone who was involved in this. We'd love to see more of this in triathlon. Okay, on to some more tri news, and this from the Super League. So now you can own part of a Super League team. That's right, this new groundbreaking concept that they've announced where the fans can own part of the team. Now, you don't actually own the team, as in you won't share any of the prize money at the end of the year, but you can be an official fan, an official supporter of the team. You will get to vote on some of the team decisions and who gets to be in the team and that kind of thing. And they've got various packages available, starting for the bronze package for £11.20, and for that you'll get 5% off the merchandise, 10% off your tickets to the races, and entry into a raffle to get the platinum package in 2023, which we'll get to in a minute, what the platinum package is. You also get your name on the team tri-suit and a chance to vote on team decisions, which is interesting. Then there's silver package, which is £52 a season, and you get more discounts, etc. A gold package, a platinum package, which is including flights and accommodation to one of their events for £4,165 for the season. And then, if you're a real big spender, there is the diamond package for a whopping £15,915. Now, there are apparently only 4 of these owner stakes available, and for that you get a whole bunch of stuff throughout the season.
And I'm sort of hoping Heather might treat us to this, but I might be a little bit hopeful. The chance to vote on the team decisions, 20% off merchandise, 2 VIP tickets to all events, flights, accommodation at the Super League Triathlon Hotel, your name on the team tri-suit, a Team Cheaters tee, a virtual meet and greet with the team and managers, entry into age group champs, training with the athletes at 2 events, dinner with the team and the manager at 2 events, race in multiple locations as an age group, including a celebrity relay, personalised Team Cheaters tri-suit with your name on the back, and a cut of the prize winnings you take straight from Alex Hughes' prize purse.
Sorry,
you don't
get any of the prize money. You don't get any of the prize money. If you're interested in this, you better put these dates in your diary. The Super League for this year is going to be in London on the 4th of September, in Munich on the 11th of September, in Malibu on the 17th of September, in Toulouse in France on the 2nd of October, and then the grand final on the 29th of October in a location to be announced.
Yeah, sad to obviously see that Jersey isn't in this year's running.
No, well, unless it's the grand final. We don't know yet.
And following on, we have 2 women that have run 106 marathons in 106 days. We have Faye Cunningham and Emma Petrie from Aberdeenshire, who beat the previous Guinness World Record by 11 marathons, and they completed their final marathon on Saturday after running their first on the 19th of February.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. 2,777 miles, equivalent to running from their home in Aboyne to London more than 5 times, although they didn't do that. They ran round and round in trails and roads around their place. In the process, they raised £25,000 for charity. They also wore out 7 pairs of running shoes each, and each lost £11 despite eating significantly more than they normally would every single day for those 106 days. It's quite interesting, though, because pretty much the same time they were doing this, there were a few other women also going for over 100 marathons, going for this world record. All of their records, I must say, are unofficial at this point, including these ladies' record, because they have to be ratified. But in April, British runner Kate Jaden claimed the unofficial record with 101 marathons in 101 days. But then later that same month, South African runner Jackie Hunt Brosma, who lost a leg to cancer in 2001, ran 104 marathons in 104 days, and now these ladies have done 106 marathons, 106 days.
Yeah, that must have been painful, mustn't it? Like actually seeing each of them doing at the same time, thinking, who's going to crack first.
Well, these ladies obviously had the advantage where they knew where the target was.
Yeah.
Maybe there's someone out there currently running and they're on like marathon 89 and they're just going to keep going to 107.
Sure. Well, hats off. Honestly, absolutely amazing to all of you, not just the two ladies. Also, there's fear that swimming pools could close. With energy prices rising, could leisure centres struggle to pay the bills and just increase the heating or keep the heating going for those swimming pools?
Yeah, this is a bit of a world crisis now on the energy front, as we've seen with the crisis in Ukraine and the Russian energy. The prices are getting ridiculous, and now there's some warnings that they literally won't be able to keep the heaters turned on in any of the pools, and leisure centres may have to either drop the temperatures of their swimming pools or close them entirely, which will be devastating news.
Yeah, I mean, they have said, obviously, one of the roundabouts of this is actually just increasing the prices of access to the leisure centre. That's not something they want to even bother considering, because they know that the impact of these energy prices already is impacting so many. So
yeah, it's also a mental and physical health imperative that people can keep fit and healthy in these tougher times. So they need to be able to keep them open. But at the same time, I mean, a lot of pools, let's face it, are money pits already. They're kept running at an expense to the government or to whoever's running them. So now it's getting to the point where they might actually have to just turn off the heaters.
Yeah, and even
take your wetsuit.
Even had a pool in the UK just last week, I believe it was in Norwich, that had to close because they ran out of chlorine. They just couldn't get chlorine in, and this is kind of the world that we're in at the moment.
Yeah, crisis.
So yeah,
take your wetsuit to your local leisure centre next time. All right, now it's time for What the Tech. And we were hoping to see quite a lot of innovative tech at the sub 7, sub 8 and new exciting things. But we were both blown away by some very simple tech. Essentially, it was a weed sprayer, wasn't it? That was on the back of a cyclist who was riding along next to the runner and literally just spraying water on them to cool them down. Innovative, simple, genius. Alistair Brownie was commentating and he said this was something that was in his plan that Joe Skipper inherited for his sub 7 attempt, and we think it's a genius. What do you think? Hack or bodge?
Well, I think it's a hack. It really is. It's clever. I mean, you're literally taking one of those sort of like shower systems that you'll see occasionally on the aid station with you on your run. Genius. Hack, in my opinion. We also got some swim tech. So over the weekend, we had EO launch EO Swim Better, which is basically a device that sits kind of like a strap that goes around your hand from what I can see. And this device measures all sorts of metrics. And it's even got 2-time ITU world champion Vincent Louis actually invested in this. Metrics include laps, distance, time, as you'd sort of expect, number of strokes, distance per stroke, average stroke rate, and very interestingly, average force per stroke. So it can actually start to tell you how your hand is tracking, where that force is being applied in a number of different angles and motions. So it can actually tell you whether your palm is facing back and whether you're applying the force in the correct direction. And if not, it gives you coaching tips as to how to improve that, which is really cool. They're actually available from August. They will start shipping from the beginning of August and will be £549 plus the EO license, which may sound like a lot, particularly in the swimming world where we typically just spend like 10, 20 quid on a pair of goggles. But when you compare that to, say, your power meter that you typically spend around that sort of price for a power meter on the bike, it's not so bad.
Is this a power meter for the swim?
Kind of. It tracks force, so newtons rather than watts, but it kind of is.
True.
You may not wear it day in, day out, though. That's the only difference. You probably put it on
once in a while, analyze your stroke and then put it away again. It's probably more something that you would use at a coach or in a fitness center where you could go have your stroke assessed and then they could use it for the next person again. But still, innovative tech and pretty exciting.
Yeah, we're talking of swim tech. Obviously, going back to sub 7, sub 8, we saw some interesting and innovative swim tech from a couple of brands. So De Boer wetsuits had a prototype suit that was being worn by Kristian and Nicola, and interestingly, in different suits actually. They were kind of tailored towards their different swimming styles. So Kristian was in their prototype De Boer Fjord S7, And then Nicola was in their
S8.
S8, there we go. Okay, yeah, and it's slightly different coloration on it. And then I really like the design of the Who prototype suit, because they actually went with the whole sort of like prototype car design when they try and like cover up the contours so you can't work out the suit.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought they were just worried about sharks in the lake.
Yeah. And so, had Alistair Brownlee and the pacemakers in the swim in that suit.
They look pretty cool. Yeah. I think they should keep the design even when it's not a prototype.
I mean, the interesting thing with this is I'd imagine Hoop have developed this suit outside of swimming or wetsuit regulations. So it may not be something that we'll actually see the tech coming into our everyday triathlon
And
suits.
if you're wondering about those regulations, it's obviously regulations on how thick a suit can be in certain places. It can't exceed 5 millimeters, that kind of thing. So we may never actually see this outside of this particular event. Still
very cool.
Pretty cool. Okay, now it's time for your race news. And outside of the sub 7, sub 8, we actually had some racing over the weekend, including the Ironman European Championships for women at Ironman Hamburg. And this was won by Laura Philipp in an incredible world's best Ironman time ever, 8 hours, 18 minutes and 20 seconds. She was only 7 seconds slower than Chrissy Wellington's all-time iron distance record, which she set in Roth in 2011. It was an exceptional performance. I feel a little bit for Laura Philipp here. She won 70.3 Kreisgau last week, and she's obviously won this in a world's best ever time. She has also done really well in Ironmans for the last 2.5 years, and there's also been a pandemic at the same time, so she hasn't been able to showcase that at the Ironman World Championships. And then, when she was just ready for St. George, and clearly she was ready for St. George, judging by this performance, she was taken out with COVID and she wasn't able to travel there, so she missed the Ironman World Champs in St. George last month. And she was clearly in good form. So this was an incredible event by her. She biked 4 hours 31 and then backed it up with a 2 hour 45.
How does that compare to your times on that same course?
They were only slightly faster than that when I won that event. It wasn't like I was just... which is interesting because I have a little bit of tie into Chrissy Wellington's 8, 18 and 13 seconds, because I beat her there and I was the guy in front of her. I was 6th in the men's pro and she was 7th in the men's pro. When she did that time,
the perfect pacemaker.
I quickly got off the course and away from the finish line when she was coming in behind me on that day. I wasn't there to get chicked by Laura Philipp on this day, although I would have been this time.
And dare I say it, arguably perhaps a slightly more accurate, or in terms of the iron distance, the course at Ironman Hamburg as well.
Yeah, it is a legit course, and also there were no men in this race, so you can't say she was sitting on the men's pros or anything like that. It was a women's only pro event, so a really legit performance, and can't wait to see her in October in Kona. In second place was Chelsea Sidoro there, and in third place, Manon Genet from France.
Yeah, very good, very nice. Also, we had Escape from Alcatraz this weekend. The winner on the men's side was Eric Lagerstrom, who just seems to be racing every weekend. So great to see him taking the win there in time of 2:01:36. A couple of minutes ahead of Jason West, and then in third we had Gregory Harper. On the women's side, it was Jackie Herring that took the win ahead of Danielle Lewis and Jodie Stimpson in third, who unfortunately had a bit of a spill on the bike because we hear the roads were a little bit damp. Very good racing, and really exciting to hear that Escape from Alcatraz are now offering a non-binary division in the event, which they ran for the first time this year, and that was won by Chip Val. So very cool and very well done to Escape from Alcatraz.
Very progressive by Escape from Alcatraz. There was also the Otelo in the Scilly Isles this weekend, and that was won by the men, the Team Arc Swim Run of Hugo Tormento and Max Anderson. On the women's side, it was won by Head Swimming's Fanny Kuhn and Desiree Anderson, and on the mixed side, Richard Stannard and Sarah Richardson from the UK.
I actually raced the Scilly Isles race a few years back with Richard Stannard, and he absolutely
he's upgraded for a woman.
It's a really tough course. So it's actually only a total distance of 37.1k. So you've got 8.4 kilometers of swimming, so across 8 swim sections, and 28.7 kilometers of trail running across 9 sections. But the amount of kelp in that water makes it so difficult, and obviously it's very hilly, number of islands. We also interestingly had solo events for the men and the women here, so that was won by Chris Goodfellow and Lindy Lee Fulsher in the women's race.
Also this last weekend we had a non-pro race at Ironman 70.3 Hawaii, and interesting, this race is the only 70.3 in the world to still have slots for the Ironman World Championships later this year. In October, it has 70 slots for that Ironman World Championships. So congratulations to everyone who got those slots at that event, and we'll see you in October in Hawaii.
Yeah, and literally as we are speaking, the cross triathlon and duathlon World Championships, as part of the World Triathlon Multisport World Championships, is taking place. So we would love to be able to talk about those results right now, so we're going to have to wait until next week, sadly.
Also upcoming this coming weekend is both the North American Ironman Championships for professionals and the Asian Pacific Ironman Championships for professionals in Cairns. And this I found very interesting. There's going to be a special name on that Ironman Cairns start list. Pete Jacobs, 10 years after his Ironman World Championships win in 2012, he is making a comeback to Ironman racing. He has not raced for a good many years now, but he's been documenting his progress on social media, and he's hoping to get his slot so that 10 years after his win, he'll be back in Kona in October. I personally wish him all the best because I'd love to see him in Kona in October.
That'd be a very cool story, wouldn't it?
Really cool.
All right, now moving on to take a look through some of the photos and videos that you guys have sent in to us. And don't forget, you too can send them in using the photo uploader link on screen right now or in the description just down below. And we've got some cracking photos this week. This first one from Thomas of his bike in Fuhlshi, which we have been laughing about my pronunciation for. Sorry. In Austria. And he said he's just testing his bike setup with the, is it the Villiers turbine, I believe? And he's got the Zip 858. Is that the 808 on the front, 808 on the Super 9 on the back. Very nice.
Really nice.
Yeah, I do like those bikes.
And then we have this from Nick in Milano in Italy. He's got... He says, just finished my swim workout and took the opportunity to check out the start point and transition zone for my next race. This will be my first Olympic distance race, and it just happens to be where I do most of my open water swim training. Looks like a great place for open water swim training. He said it was actually, the lake was built in the 1930s as an airport for seaplanes. I assume they don't land on there anymore if he's swimming in there. He says, I know nothing new on race day, but I think it'll be fine to use my brand new GTN water bottle. Yes. You definitely
it would make for an interesting landing, wouldn't it, in a plane with a load of swimmers in there. Finally, this one from Daniel. It's his giant Trinity in transition at Blenheim Palace Triathlon. He said he's finished the race on Saturday morning, went to collect the bike from transition, and needs to take a moment to soak in how awesome a venue it is. And it really is, because the transition is within sort of the palace grounds in the courtyard in front of the house, and you literally start the bike leg off on the drive. It's very cool.
I'll have to put that on my list for next year. Okay, we also have a competition giveaway. We gave away last week or the week before some Magic 5 Frodeno goggles, and they're obviously the special Frodeno edition, but custom made for your face. Obviously, you don't want the ones that fit on Jan Frodeno's face. So we have the names of our winners, and they are Alex Nessel, Yannick van Heek, Paul Crate, Kevin Lamb, and Avery Jones-Smith. Congratulations, guys, and enjoy your new Magic 5 goggles. They're pretty awesome goggles.
Okay, now on to the caption competition. Last week we had this photo from the ITU race. Loads of captions coming in this week. A lot of immature toilet humour. So we have...
which we love. So
we do. First one from Thomas K. I literally got beaten at the finish line.
Yep. And then Alex Nugent with our first toilet humour. He says, out of my way, nature calls.
Rosie Sauter, flippers, great idea for the swim, not so much for the run.
Yeah, Carl Jones says, Alberto was beginning to realise that sprint triathlon wasn't the best idea for a germaphobe.
And then next one from Too Overrated is lyrics that I mean, James, you're going to have to do it.
It's the safety dance, Mark. The safety dance. You can dance if you want to. You can scare your friends behind. Because if they don't dance, then you should try to leave them all behind.
Nice. Good
It's the safety dance.
But the winner is toilet humour from Jennifer Wallace. Never trust a fart after mile 20. I don't think that would have won if Heather was here.
No, yeah, you're probably right. Yeah. Anyway, Heather's not here, so you won.
Yeah, interesting. I that has not happened to me, but I have been beaten in the final kilometre by someone that didn't trust a fart after mile 20.
That's too much information.
Yeah, anyway.
Let's move on to this week's caption competition. We have this one from the Isles of City Otelo race, the swim run race, and he's got something on his hand there coming out the water. I'll have a go at this one, Mark. Can someone Kelp me out here.
Yes, that's good. That's really good. Also, because I said I've done this race, that is probably the scariest swim I've ever done, where I literally was getting eaten by the kelp trying to come out of the water.
You needed someone to kelp him out.
You literally did. Oh, I'm so proud of you for that. Well, that is it for the show this week. We've got loads coming up, including a behind the scenes at the sub 7, sub 8 event, where you get to see all the inner workings of the teams, the team tactics, pre-race chats. So yeah, really interesting video, as well as does music make you run faster?
Yeah. Also, you can head over to the GTN shop right now to get any of our merchandise that you see us riding in, or these nice jumpers. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more content. We are coming up to 700,000 subscribers soon, Mark. Yeah, so any day now. If you're looking for something to watch right now, we did a program, the sub 1 hour 45 half marathon program, and that's on the channel right now if you're interested in that. If you're more into the bikes, we also did a video on how to choose the perfect triathlon bike, so you can click on that right now.